Hey guys, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Taylor and I love to share tips and tricks on taking your family to Disney World, and maybe I can make the process just a little bit easier and more fun. So if you're new, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here, and today we are going to be talking about 10 mistakes that you do not need to make when you go to Disney World. Okay, guys, so mistake number one that you do not want to make is buying bottled water in the park. It is so expensive. I want to say it's $4 or $5 for a bottle of water now. And who wants to pay that? I would much rather spend that money on something fun, something good to eat, towards, like a treat or something. So I always tell my clients, and we take to a refillable water bottle. So make sure you take that with you. You can get water for free in the park. You can fill it up in your resort room. You also have an ice maker at the resort that you can get ice to keep in your room. So you can fill up your water bottle before you even leave to go to the park. And then when you're in the park and you're out of water, you can stop at these refillable water stations. You can stop at quick service restaurants, and they will have cups of ice water that you can get and refill your water bottle. So that is a big mistake. If you can help it, do not buy bottled water in the park. Like I said, it's expensive, and I would much rather spend my money on something else. Also, we do this too. We have groceries delivered when we go, so we will always get a case of water to keep in our room. And that way we can take a couple. You could even put one in a freezer if you're staying in a villa or a suite that has a big refrigerator that has a freezer. You can freeze some water and put that in your backpack, and that will help keep things cold. But if not, you can just put the water in the beverage coolers at your regular resort room and then refill your water bottle throughout the day with that. Or you could get a cup of ice. But don't buy bottled water at the park if you can help it. Like I said, it's expensive, and I'd hate for somebody to waste their money on something like bottled water when you could put that towards something fun. Okay, guys, so mistake number two that you don't want to make when you go to Disney World is forgetting to make your park pass reservation, and this is a big one. A lot of people don't know, that haven't been in a long time, that you even have to make a park pass reservation. They think, well, I've bought my tickets, that's all I need to do. Well, now you have to make a park pass reservation. So thankfully, these are going away January 9th, and I'm excited about that. So a park pass reservation is when you go on there, you've bought your tickets, and you have to let them know what park you're going to what day. So say you're doing a 4-day park trip, a 4-day Disney park trip, and you want to go to each park. And so say Monday, you're doing Magic Kingdom. Tuesday, you want to go to Hollywood Studios. Wednesday, you want to go to Epcot, and then Friday or Thursday, you want to go to Animal Kingdom. So you can do that, but you have to make a park pass reservation first. I have a friend who I do her hair, and her family are going to Disney World just for the day. They're headed down to the beach, and so they're just going to stop by. They haven't been in years, and they're taking their little girl. And so I was doing her hair the other day, and she's like, Taylor, I need all the information, all the tips, all the tricks. Like, what can you tell me? And the first thing I asked her, I said, do you have your park pass reservation? And she was like, what are you talking about? A park pass reservation? She said, I have my tickets. And so right then I said, okay, we've got to get on there and make your park pass reservation, especially since they wanted to go to Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios are the most popular parks, and they book up really fast. Thankfully, I don't think this has happened except for like on New Year's Eve. I think that's what the lady told me one time. I called just to see if she thought it would sell out or be at capacity for Magic Kingdom one day. And she said most of the time, the only time it would happen was for New Year's Eve. So most of the time you're going to be okay. But that rare day or that special day that, something may be going on and you are wanting to go that day and you didn't make your park pass reservation, I would hate for you to get to the gate and not be able to get in. And then when you jump on there to try to make a park pass reservation, it be at capacity and you can't get in. So make sure that's the first thing that you want to do after you book your trip and book your package or whatever. You want to get on there and do your park pass reservations first. So make sure that you do that, and that will help out so much. That will save a lot of tears, and I would hate for somebody to get there and not be able to get in. So make sure you make your park pass reservations. That's mistake number two that you don't want to do. Okay, guys, so mistake number 3 that you don't want to make when you go to Disney World is thinking you can do it all in one vacation. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. Disney World is huge, it's the size of Manhattan, and there's no way that you're going to be able to do everything in one trip. And you don't want to try either. The first time that we went, we were trying to get everything that we wanted to do done because I didn't know when we were going to be coming back. Little did I know I was going to become obsessed with it and want to go all the time. But we were trying to do everything that we could because we didn't know when we were coming back. And let me tell you, it is exhausting. And then you're going to be disappointed because you've got all these things you want to do and then you don't get to do them. So, what I tell my clients and kind of what my family does is we make a list. Okay, let's try to do at least these 3 rides, and I want to try these 3 snacks, and I want to see these shows or whatever. And then that way, when you get to do all of those that are on your list, then you feel accomplished and you're happy because you got to do those things. And then if you get to do more stuff, then that's just extra and it's great. But I try to tell my clients, like, don't expect to do everything while you're there. It's huge. There's no way you can do everything. You can't ride every single ride. You're not going to see every single show. You're not going to get to eat at every single restaurant you want to. So that way it saves you some disappointment if you know going in that, okay, we're not going to be able to do everything, and that's okay. We can come back. It may be a few years, but you can come back and do more stuff. But just go in knowing, okay, we're not going to be able to do everything. So let's make a list of what's important to us that we do try to do and do those things. And then if you get to do extra stuff, that's just great. So don't try to do it all. You will wear yourself out, and then everybody's going to be tired and cranky, and nobody is going to be having fun. So go into it knowing, okay, we're not going to get to do everything this trip, but we will do some more when we come back. Okay, mistake number 4 that people make is planning too much. So that kind of goes along with trying to do everything in one trip. Now, when I say planning too much, planning too many, table service restaurants in a day, don't think that you need to do like a sit down breakfast, a sit down lunch, a sit down dinner. You will, if you do that, first of all, you're going to be stuffed. And then second of all, you're not going to get to do very much in the park. Those table service meals take a little bit longer, especially the character service meals. You're going to be there an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours if you're trying to take your time. So while I love a good table service restaurant, we just try to do maybe one a day. And that way you do get to have a nice meal or a character meal, and you get to sit down, especially in the heat of summer, sit down in the air conditioner and just kind of recuperate and have a good meal. But don't try to do 3 sit down meals a day. You are going to waste a huge chunk of time when you're at the park, and you're going to miss out on stuff. So if you're doing those, I think that is planning way too much. So don't plan like a sit down meal for every, or a table service meal for every meal. Don't do that because you're not going to have enough time to do other things. Now, that being said, you may not be like us. You may just be going for the food, and that's okay. But if you have not been to Disney before and you're wanting to do rides and shows and do some shopping, then I would not do so many restaurants in one day. I would do like one sit down meal and then like do some quick service meals. That's just much easier. And then you're not just wasting all your time at the restaurants. That way you have time to do other things. And then also don't plan to do, 3 parks in a day. Every day you're there, you're going to do 3 parks in one day, or just whatever. Just don't over plan. Don't have an itinerary set for your family so tight that there's not any wiggle room. That is going to make everybody cranky too. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to get everything done. And then you may miss out on stuff if your kids see something they want to do and you're like, nope, we got to be over here at 10 o'clock. Sorry, we'll come back to that. Well, then when you leave there, nope, we got to be over here at 12. That's what time we are doing this. And we try to go into it without a schedule. Now, if we're doing a table service meal, of course you have to have a reservation, but that would be the only reservation we would have for the day, other than, our Genie Plus Lightning Lane rides that we have booked for the day. But don't go into it scheduling way too much or planning way too much, because it's going to lead to failure. You're going to feel exhausted. You're not going to get all of it done. Somebody's going to be tired. Somebody's going to be cranky because you have to go here and you can't take time to sit and rest or take a break and go shopping or look at, whatever. So try not to plan too much. That is no fun either. It's really fun just to kind of go with the flow and just be walking and be like, hey, do y'all want to go in the Emporium and go shopping? Or, oh, let's go get a Dole Whip or whatever. Let's stop in at, trying to think, Casey's Corner and get a corn dog or whatever. Because if you have such a tight itinerary or you've planned all these things, you can't just be spontaneous and go do something else. You have to stick by that schedule. And then that is going to be hard too, because you're not going to get to do other stuff. So don't plan. I know I'm rambling. Don't plan too much. That is a bad mistake to make. Okay, number 5 is going from sun up to sundown. Okay, let me tell you guys this. Now, me and Stella love to go from sun up to sundown. Sundown. We love it. I feel like if I am not there from sun up to sundown, rope drop to close to fireworks, I am going to miss something. Now, me and her, we can go all day long and not get tired. Now, my husband, on the other hand, he cannot. He likes to go back and take a break. And so everybody is different, but that is a big mistake, especially if you have little kids who need a nap, or especially if you're going in the heat of summer and you don't want to go from sun up to sundown and it's hot and you want to maybe go back and go to the pool and have some pool time, or, just rest a little bit, get out of the heat during the day, then it is good. Now, I think that we are the exception because we love to go from sun up to sundown, but most people don't want to. And a lot of times, if you don't take a break, you're going to get cranky and ill. And so it is a really good idea to stop and just take a break, go back to the resort, recuperate, rest, and then go back. I will tell y'all the best day that we ever had out of all of our Disney trips, and I was so mad because I didn't want to do this, but we got up early. We rope dropped Hollywood Studio. That's our absolute favorite park. So we rope dropped Hollywood Studio and we stayed there till probably about 1. And then we left and went back to the room because my husband wanted to take a nap. We did not want to go back. I was a little bit angry because I wanted to stay. I was afraid I was going to miss something. But we ended up going back and he took a nap, and Stella and I went and walked around the resort. And we were staying at Coronado Springs that time. And they have this little sandy, beachy area with hammocks out there. And so I stopped and got a snack for us, and we went over there and ate our snack, and she played in the sand for a good hour. I just kind of sat there and rested, and she played and played in that sand. And so then we went back. So we went back and got my husband. He was up from the nap. He was feeling good, rested. We kind of freshened up. And then we went back to Hollywood Studios and we stayed until way after park closed. So what we ended up doing was we got, if you don't know this, Oga's Cantina stays open past park hours. So we booked a reservation for Oga's Cantina at 9:30. The park closes at 9. So we stayed and then went to Oga's. And then when we came out, there was nobody there. There was nobody in Hollywood Studios. It was so nice. We walked out with the cast members. They were so great. We made some friends, and they also took some pictures of us in Star Wars Land. It was so cool. There was nobody there. It was just the neatest thing. And so I don't think that we got back until after 11:30. It could have been midnight. But we both said that was the best day that we'd ever had. And so I will say, I was so glad that we did go back and then went back after everybody kind of rested. So even though I love going from sun up to sundown, it really makes a difference. Everybody's mood is better, or it is for our family, because when you're at Disney, especially when it's really hot, I can't tell you how much the heat drains you at Disney. And then you're walking. I want to say one day we walked 26,000 steps. So put that, with the heat index of 110, and it's hot and sweaty and you're exhausted, and everybody starts getting cranky. And so I will say that did make a big difference in our trip. And that was the very best day that we've ever had out of all of our Disney vacation trips. It was great. So I do highly recommend not going from sun up to sundown, especially if you have never been before. It is a lot of walking. Like I said, it can be really hot. You're going to be exhausted. So make sure you listen to your body too and take breaks. Even if you don't want to, even if you're like me and Stella and we like going from sun up to sundown, sometimes you need to listen to your body and just, maybe take some breaks. I'll throw this in there too. It's kind of, It sounds bad. So there's this thing called the Disney rash, and I had heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was. Well, when we went in January, now it was warmer. It wasn't super hot, but it was in the 80s when we were there. So we were waiting in line for Slinky Dog, and my ankles started itching so bad. And I thought, what is that? Did I get bit by something? Well, I looked down at my ankle, and from my ankle to my calf, it was a red rash on both legs. And I thought, oh no, is this the Disney rash? Like, I didn't know what it was. So I Googled it. And basically, what it is a heat rash. And it's from, when I looked it up, it's from over exercising in the heat. And so, anyways, I should listen to my body. When I get tired, I should have sat down and got some air conditioning, because I got that. And the last trip that we went on in June, I got it again. So I'm afraid that I'm going to continue to get it. And when we went in June, we went from sun up to sundown, and it was super hot. And I did not listen to my body because I didn't want to miss anything. So I would hate for that to happen to you guys. If you do get this Disney rash on your legs, all you need to do is rest. Like, you just need to sit down and prop your legs up for a little while. When I would go to sleep at night and wake up, it was gone the next day, but it would come back because I'd start walking in the heat again. So just make sure you listen to your body. I know I'm rambling. I'm just trying to save you guys from some pain and exhaustion. So just make sure you listen to your body. Don't try to go from sun up to sundown, and don't make that mistake. Okay, number 6 is not trying something new. If you're like us and you've been a lot, you kind of figure out, okay, we know we like these things. Our family likes to do this, and we like to do this and this. And so you just kind of stick to that, and you don't really venture off, because you know, okay, well, we know we like to do these things. Well, if you just do that and you don't try something new, you may miss out on something that you might really, really like. So we are guilty of this too. We know what we like, we know what we don't like, but we need to try some new stuff. So, like on this last trip that we went on in June, we tried beer garden, and I absolutely loved it. And I didn't think that I would, but we wanted to try it, and I absolutely loved it. That turned out to be my absolute favorite restaurant now. I want to go there whenever we go back from now on, because it was so much fun, and Stella loved it. The food is really good, but normally I wouldn't try that. I would, because I love to, try the food booths and all the different stuff. So I'm so glad we decided to do that, because it was so much fun and I absolutely loved it. So make sure you try something new, whether that be a new food item, a new drink, a new ride, a new show. Maybe you go into a new store that you haven't been into. Just try new stuff. You never know. You may want to try a new resort. We kind of get stuck in that too. We have the resorts that we like, and we never kind of venture off from those. So try new things. You never know. Okay. So number 7 is not bringing your own food and drinks into the park. This is a big mistake. We always bring stuff into the park with us. That way, you don't have to spend a lot of money for snacks. Now, I will say this: I'm not the kind that's going to be packing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and not eat it all in the park. That's not us. That may be what you like to do to save money. Now, I'm all about saving money, but I'm all about trying new snacks. We love snacks. We love the restaurants there. We love drink options. And so I do pack snacks in case we are in a bind and we're in line for a ride or something, and Stella's like, Mom, I am so hungry, or I'm so thirsty, or I may be really thirsty. I love Diet Coke, so I may really want a Diet Coke, but we're in line. So I do pack stuff like that. I do pack little snacks for if we're in a pinch and really need something, but that will save you a lot of money. But also, you can also try new food and stuff too. I'm not saying that, but make sure you bring some stuff into the park with you, because even if you're like, Taylor, I want to try all the stuff. I don't want to bring food and drinks into the park because I want to try all these new snacks. We do too, don't get me wrong. But just in case you have an emergency, especially if you have little kids, they might get hangry and you can't get to a store or a quick service restaurant, quick enough, at least you can pull out some peanuts or some goldfish and a snack for them to kind of tide them over until you can get somewhere and get something to snack on or get some food or whatever. So, but make sure you bring some of that in there too. And I hate spending money in the parks on bottled drinks because they're very expensive, and I would much rather spend my money on something else other than drinks. So make sure you bring some stuff with you just to be on the safe side if you get in a bind and need something. But like I said, we love to try food stuff too, but we always bring some stuff into the park with us to save a little bit of money, and hopefully we don't get in a bind, but if we do, we have a snack I can pull out of our backpack. Okay, number 8 is not being prepared for the weather. This is a big one. So it is hurricane season now at Disney World. So you want to make sure that you are prepared for the rain. Make sure you have an umbrella, your ponchos. Make sure you take like some Crocs or sandals. It is miserable when your tennis shoes get soaking wet at Disney World and then you are just squishing around all day. That's awful. And then you're going to be rubbing blisters on your feet because you're going to be walking with these wet tennis shoes. It's just, ugh, it's awful. I hate it. But it is hurricane season, so be prepared for rain. Most of the time, it does not last long. We have been several times in September. We've been really lucky. Most of the time in the morning and early afternoon, it's beautiful. And then every afternoon, there comes a shower, or a thunderstorm. But normally it doesn't last long, about an hour, and then it's over with. But just make sure you're prepared. Now, it's just awful if you don't have a poncho, you don't have an umbrella, and you're getting soaking wet, or if you have time to run in a store to get one, you're going to be paying a lot of money for this poncho that you're not going to be wearing anymore. So make sure you are prepared. In the heat of summer, make sure you are wearing cool stuff like shorts and breathable material so you don't get too hot. I would hate for somebody to be, okay, let's take our January trip, for example. I was so excited because I thought it was going to be really, not cold, but cooler. And I couldn't wait to wear sweatshirts and leggings. And thankfully, I looked at the weather right before we left because we only had one chilly day and the rest were in the high 80s in January. So it's a good thing we looked because I had packed all these leggings and sweatshirts and warm stuff. I was so excited. Well, then it turned out to be hot. So make sure you check the weather before you go and be prepared, whether you're going winter, fall, summer, spring. Just make sure you check the weather. Make sure you are prepared with your ponchos, your umbrellas, your cool clothes, your warmer clothes, because you never know what it's going to be like in Disney. One day it could be really cool, and then the next day it can be warm. You just never know. So make sure you check the weather and be prepared. Okay, number 9 is not using My Disney Experience app. This, if you have been to Disney lately, you are on this app all the time, 24/7, your whole trip. So make sure that you play around with the My Disney Experience app, get really familiar with it and used to it. You're going to be using this to book your lightning lanes. You're going to be doing mobile order to order food. You're on there for, just checking wait times, anything. Everything you need is on this phone. Your tickets are on this phone. Your park pass reservations are on your phone on this My Disney Experience app. Everything is on there. So if you have not been to Disney in a while and you are not familiar with the My Disney Experience app, make sure you know how to use it before you go. Like I said, play around with it, get used to it, especially Genie Plus. Now, when you go to play with it, it's not going to let you book a ride because you're not there, but you can kind of, go on there and pretend like you're booking a ride, and then it will, show you who's in your party, and you can click. It's not going to let you click them, but it'll pull them up so you can see who's in your party, and just go on there and play with it because, like I said, you're on that thing 24/7 when you're at Disney World. So just make sure you're familiar with it and you know how to use it, and that will make everything a lot less complicated. But if you do need help, you can go, when you're there, you can go to the Blue Umbrellas. It's guest relations, and they will help you. They're super nice. I've had to go to them before to get them to help me when one of our lightning lanes got messed up. So they're great. They will help you in any way that they can, and just make sure you're familiar with this app because you're going to be on it 24/7. Okay, the last tip is not making your dine-in reservations 60 days out. So if you are staying on property 60 days out, you can make dining reservations for the whole length of your trip. Now, if you're not staying on property, you have to do it every morning as it comes. Your 60-day mark out from that day comes. But if you're staying on property at 60 days, at the 60-day mark, you can make it for your whole trip. So don't forget to do that. That is the best chance that you have of getting what you want. The earlier you can book your dine-in reservations, the the better chance you have of getting what you want. Now, not to say that you can't get it. Now, this has happened to me several times too. There may be one reservation that I wasn't able to get, and I'm like, man, and you guys wait, when you try to book these dining reservations, it is like an adrenaline rush. You are just like on that phone at 5 in the morning. It's 5 our time, 6 Florida's time. So I'm like, refresh, like, okay, I'm trying to get this reservation in Bippity Boppity Boutique, and you're like, I just want to get what I want, and it's just so nerve-wracking. But if you don't get everything you want, don't panic, because you can book a dining reservation all the way up till like the day of. You know, you could get on there that morning and see. I'm trying to think. One time we were trying to get, what was it? I can't remember. Anyways, I couldn't get it. I want to say it was Sci-Fi or something. And it was like the day that we were there. I had checked and checked and checked. I couldn't find anything. And then the day that we were at Hollywood Studios, I saw it pop up and I'm like, yes, we got it. So don't panic if you don't get everything that you want, because you can continue to check every day that you're up until your trip. While you're on your trip, somebody may cancel for Chef Mickey and you really wanted that one, you couldn't find it. Topolino's Terrace, I talked about this in the last video. That is a unicorn. I have only ever seen one breakfast reservation open. I was like, oh my gosh, I finally saw it. It's like a unicorn, I say. So don't ever give up, because like I said, you can check every day up until your trip, while you're on your trip, but you do have a really good chance of getting what you want if you book them 60 days in advance. So make sure you do that. I hope this video helped. I know I ramble a lot, y'all, but don't make these 10 mistakes. Be familiar with the My Disney Experience app. Make your dining reservation 60 days out. Bring food into the park and drink. Make sure you made your park pass reservation. Be prepared for the weather. So hopefully this helped. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.